Welcome back, terrestrials. We got a weird one this time. Um, in an attempt to try to do some different things,
Hmm.
we built a little wheel, spinny wheel, um, and we put different types of movies on it, not just horror and sci-fi.
Right.
And it's led us to a documentary. And I had to choose several different documentaries. I send over trailers to Jerry. Jerry picks the one. Um, so here we are.
Yep.
We're doing 2004's Some Kind of Monster,
Yep.
the Metallica documentary about the making of the Metallica album.
Right.
So, um, Jerry, grade?
C plus.
Okay. I think that this movie is a B minus for me.
Okay.
Um, I am somebody who loves the background of things.
Right.
I like the inside of things. Cool. Jerry does too. Um, but I like seeing behind the scenes. And at this time, behind the scenes wasn't huge. Now we
Right.
see too much behind the scenes. But at this time, we didn't see a ton of it. So this was very cool for me at the time because I liked Metallica.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool. It was a good concept of
Right.
making of. So I think everybody can kind of tell which direction I'm going to go with this. So let's see where you go with this.
Positive and shit.
Yeah, probably.
Fucking yeah, I mean, you can like put cameras on people, but like is it worth it sometimes? It's kind of like, hey kids, don't meet your like your favorite movie stars or music icons because it could turn out to be assholes.
Okay, now.
Because
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
all of like there's only one person in this movie who wasn't an asshole. Like everybody else
Kurt.
just came. Kurt, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
okay, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. He
yeah,
was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I was just like, I'm okay with Kurt, but
Yeah.
everybody else, I was just like,
He
God,
has
there's
his little thing in towards the middle of the movie,
uh,
but yeah.
I did critique one thing, but it was kind of funny. But at the same time, I mean, anytime he's on camera, I'm like, okay, he's reasonable.
Mhm,
He's like trying to see this way, and he's trying to see that way. But
mhm.
everybody else, huge fucking asshole. Fucking even like Jason. Like I was like, well, I kind of like Jason, and then like I'm listening to him talking, I'm like. Nah, he's still coming off as an asshole to me and shit. Fucking Dave Mustaine's in it. I'm just like, no, he's an
He's a
asshole
crybaby
too.
asshole.
Yeah,
He's a crybaby
he's a
asshole.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's so funny, like the Mustaine thing I can get into, but like uh I was sitting there like I had heard that interview before, but I never saw it in the context
Mhm.
of the movie.
Right, right.
And I was like, wait a minute, I've seen like interviews and shit where he's like, yeah, I created Megadeth to like combat,
Mhm,
Metallica.
mhm.
And then in this, he's just like, every time I would hear someone say Metallica, it was just like, fuck you, Dave Mustaine, fuck you. I'm not good enough and shit. And it's like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, what happened to the badass? Fucking like, is Dave on like anti like anxiety medication right now? Because he's just like, you just suck. 'Cause I've been out of Metallica and shit. And like, but James, I'll say, yeah, he's an asshole, but like, he's good with what he does.
They're all assholes.
Yeah, they're all
They're,
assholes.
they're all assholes. Kirk is the only not asshole.
But like,
Um,
they're assholes, but rightfully so. They're fucking Metallica.
so
Be
that's what
assholes.
I was going to. That's one of the arguments that I was pre-bringing to the table when you came with like, "Fuck this stupid movie. This is so stupid."
No, I didn't
Because
say
no,
that.
no, no, I
Oh,
understand, I
oh,
understand. But this was a pre-planned argument to combat that, to
oh.
go to go basically like, look how insanely vulnerable and open and honest they're being to the world as one of the biggest bands in the world.
Right.
They're just like, here, look at our inner struggles, our turmoils, our problems within the band and everything
Yeah.
else. Um, but yeah, they're all assholes.
Yeah.
Um,
And the
Newstead
biggest
was the
asshole
same.
is fucking Lars, because my God,
God, dude, he is so annoying.
I
He's
cannot
so
stand
annoying.
like
Some of the
watching
things he was
that.
saying, I agreed, but I just didn't like him
Like,
delivering his delivery of it. I was like, you know what? No, fuck you still. Like,
right.
yeah, you're right, but also fuck you. Yeah, it just
And like there was just point obviously there are many points in this where I'm just like, oh yeah, we get to involve this.
Mhm,
Like, oh my God, I almost turned the fucking movie off when he was showing his Basquiat and
mhm,
all his art. Look at, oh, I got this artist and I got this artist and stuff. I'm like, that fucking Basquiat isn't even behind glass. You just
mhm,
have it fucking like just sitting there open air, hoping that your kid doesn't walk by with a hot dog and ketchup and
mhm,
fucking smear. God damn it. And then like then when the art selling
mhm,
starts coming, now I'm just like, you motherfucker. Like,
mhm.
you should have just donated this shit. You're in Metallica. Fucking,
Well, clearly money matters to him
of
because
course.
I don't know if you heard about his issues with Napster,
Well, yeah,
but money is important to Lars.
very much
But
so. Fucking, like,
I,
and I'm so glad they brought that up and shit. And they had the little, like, early 2000s little fucking cartoon. And I was like, I remember watching that.
yeah, I
Fuck.
remember watching that too.
But
Um, Yeah, I mean, but back to the Dave Mustaine thing. Yeah, he was being a whiny fucking baby. But then Jason Newsted was like, "Can I be in the band again?" And
yeah, I
then they
did
were
like
like,
that.
"Nah." And then later he's like, "I mean, I'm so glad I didn't rejoin the band." Like, you weren't offered to rejoin the
Right.
band. Like, you made yourself look like a
I
dumbass.
asked, they said no, but now I'm glad they said no. It's
Yeah,
just like,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah,
because that
exactly.
fucking, what was that goddamn band called? Fucking Brain, Tweezers? Echo
Echo
Brain.
Brain.
I
Yeah.
was sitting there and I'm like, oh, look at that. Fucking, he's playing with like a bunch of high school
Yeah,
kids
he's
and
playing
shit.
butt rock. He's playing
Yeah,
butt rock. He's playing Nickelback before Nickelback.
right. And it was just like, I don't give a shit about this. And,
Huh.
like, I am glad, like, I do see his side of the story where they everybody else in the band went off and they got billions of dollars and they wanted to go start their lives, etc., etc. And Jason's like holding out for fucking like
And for what though?
for yeah, because it's just like, Jason, you still get like, maybe you don't get writing credits like they do, but you still get paid.
Mhm.
You can start something, dude. You can fucking, have a
Well, he
career.
wasn't allowed to have another band. That was the whole
Yeah.
thing. And
They
based
were
on
trying to save him.
yeah, I was getting ready to say based on Echo Brain, um, they were doing him a favor. And
Right.
I one of the shittiest things about him that I saw was he he plays this show, he invites Kurt and Lars, they come, they support him, he leaves.
Right.
Then he asks to be in the band. So he is building this band to be mildly successful. I mean, he played in front of like 200 people or probably or so, from the looks of the venue. And then he doesn't even want them. He just wanted to use that band in order to try to get back into Metallica.
Right.
And
It,
then he
it almost
basically,
felt like the
then
reason that
on
he
top of
left.
that,
No.
they said no to him. And he goes, "Oh, well, I didn't want to be in Metallica anyways."
Right.
And then he still left those fucking guys to go play with Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah, I would have too and shit.
Oh,
Fucking
yeah, for
like
sure. But
at that one venue where they go and see him live, and then
right.
Jason doesn't come out and like talk to him.
He left.
Yeah, I would too, because fucking I'm just gonna be like, they're just gonna make fun of me. They're
Hmm.
just gonna make fun of me, like, oh, this is what you're doing now and shit. Fuck, But yeah, I think that would have been a more interesting documentary of the mental capacity of being in this larger than life band with these two very, very strong characters, James and Lars,
Hmm.
and the psychological, idea of like can I do something on my own? Can I, I find that way more compelling than like, what was kind of on the screen because for a majority of this, it's just Lars upset at James because James said, "Listen, we're gonna let critiques come in from all sides, and then the second critiques come in from all sides, James is like, "Fuck this, I'm going to rehab."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fucking walks his ass out of the fucking door, and then like he's gone for a year and
Mhm.
shit. Like I knew that shit was gonna go down before it happened. I'm like, oh, he keeps saying Waka because he went and got drunk with a bunch of fucking Russian guys,
Mhm.
and he keeps like giggling and calling it Waka. And you're drunk, James. Fuck you. Like
Yeah.
show me another car, James. Oh, how many cars? How many different cars do you have in this fucking movie? Three and a motorcycle?
Godly rich. What do
Yeah,
you
I know.
what do you expect them to buy?
The
You
fucking
expect them to have one Toyota Tercel or some shit
yeah.
like one four banger from
Right, yeah,
1989.
exactly.
No, but I like the movie because it's a behind the scenes look. Yes, Lars is whining the entire time. Yes, James is being a baby.
Right.
But like they said, this is the first time, like you mentioned, this is the first time everybody can contribute to everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think that that was interesting. I think that the group therapy thing, it wasn't overly interesting, but it was interesting in the way that it kind of every time they said something like Lars would be like, well, I don't like that James is, gone for to get sober and the band has to like wait around for him. And then the therapist would be like, well, why does that make you mad? What's your problem?
Yeah.
Then he's like, well,
'Cause I'm Lars.
yeah, because I'm Lars and I want to write
Yeah.
music and I
And I
can't
think
write
that's
and
something
then
Jason
like
brought up anyway. It's like,
yeah,
do we
yeah,
really
and
need this? Do we need this? We're a
yeah,
band. Fucking
yeah.
just go into a studio and just start plucking away. Fucking who gives a shit what it
I mean,
sounds like?
they both would go, we don't need this therapist, and then they would both use the
Let's
therapist.
use the therapist, right?
So like I think that the therapist's role in that shit is fucking hilarious to me. Because he's just completely like he he is pushing them to see all their bullshit.
Right,
He's
right,
pushing them to be like, this is your ego. This is your distrust in him because he did that, or whatever the case is.
right.
So I thought that the movie was interesting. But more away from the soap opera of it, the music. Let's talk about the music in this album. And
Okay.
then we can get back into the finish of the
Uh,
documentary.
my thoughts on the music is the second that they left the first studio, that
Mhm,
first studio, um, they had that set up really nice
mhm,
to where Lars's drums actually sounded good.
mhm.
Then they went to the second studio, and I guess they were just tired. Like the engineers were they're just tired of dealing with Metallica's bullshit and stuff. So they're just like, "Fuck it, look at what I'm gonna do to Lars. I'm gonna fucking put a goddamn like subwoofer mic underneath his goddamn snare and fucking tighten it too tight and shit."
It's
Fucking
called a popcorn snare. It's meant to sound like that, and it's used in a lot of other music.
yes, and I will
So
say that on the Slipknot album, it sounds fucking awesome. But
right.
for some reason on
So
I
this
can't.
is so when this album came out, let's talk about this. When this
Okay.
album came out, we were both alive. Um, everybody hated this album.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately, everybody hated this album.
Mm-hmm.
I love this album from the first time I played it to I just listened to it earlier today.
Okay.
Now, everybody goes, that snare, that snare, that snare. That snare is in all forms of music in a wide variety of different types of rock, metal, everything. The reason people don't like that popcorn snare in this band is because this is Metallica. They want Injustice for All. They want the Black Album. They want solos. They want Gimme Fuel, Gimme Fire. They want Metallica. They don't want Metallica to change.
Right.
Metallica went and completely changed. This is so far from any other Metallica album that has been before it and after it.
Right.
Because everything after it, they went back to the old Metallica because everybody hated this fucking album.
Correct.
This album is a moment in time where Metallica wrote really, really good music without being Metallica. They
Right.
did not go, we need to write a new Metallica album. They went in there as four dudes, made an album, and put it together. Now, if I handed you this album and I said, this is fucking butt fuckers, check it out, you'd be like, that's pretty damn good. But when I go, psych, it's Metallica, you go, oh, fucking,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
so
fuck that.
stupid. That's
Yeah.
a piece of shit out. It's because it's Metallica. Now, I'm not saying that
Right.
the album is fantastic, but Lars's drumming is insane on that fucking album. If you can focus on the
Okay.
not if you can not focus on the popcorn snare, he's got triple beats and shit in there that is so far past anything he's ever done.
Right.
And it sounds more close to what like Joey Jordison would do on a Slipknot album.
Yes,
I
that's
mean,
where I
God,
think he was getting that idea from like modern day
yeah,
new metal
right,
bands.
yeah. And
And
he killed it.
right.
All the music,
Well, he did kill. He did kill it. You are correct.
uh,
I will. That statement is 100% fucking.
okay, but
Just want
my
to
meaning of it
quote
is
by Jacob.
your meaning and my
Fucking
meaning,
Lars
I have a
Ulrich
feeling means
killed
different
it.
things. But he killed it on that album. That
He
was that
did.
was that was fantastic drumming. Um, but the the music, if it was all instrumentals and they turned down that popcorn snare a little bit, that would be a, an amazing album.
Not even turn it down, but just on the mix, just put it towards the back. Like because
It
the
is in the
way,
front. It is
yeah,
very
it's in the
forward.
front,
Yeah.
and so it's leading,
Hmm.
but when it leads, that's when the other stuff kind of like mutes out.
Hmm.
You know, I can forgive that, like, but like we were talking about, you were saying earlier, this is Metallica, Injustice for All, Black Album, Ride the Lightning,
Hmm.
fucking S&M,
Hmm.
um, Garage Inc. Metallica is McDonald's. And I've said it before. You don't go to McDonald's because they make the best hamburger. You go to McDonald's because the burger tastes the same each time. Writing a Metallica album is like falling off a log, you know? But when you do new stuff and then have to go back to the old stuff, it's because the flavor is different, and that's how I feel about that album. The flavor is just different, and I'm not used to that flavor, and I'm just
Right.
going, no, I want my hamburger
Right.
and
Right.
shit. Fucking
And I completely understand that.
good.
And I think that is the reason this album was so widely hated.
Yes,
But even McDonald's brings the McRib back every once in a while. And
right.
that is completely different than a McDonald's
That's
sandwich.
them
So
dragging out that fucking orchestra to sit there and play fucking
um
that orchestra and shit.
but that
Fucking,
album
this
was
is
great
like
too. But
McDonald's fucking doing the pizza again and shit. Fucking, you know.
um yeah, maybe. But
No, fucking
I think that if we took away the name Metallica and put a different band name on it, this is a really good rock and roll album. I wouldn't
right. Okay.
necessarily call it metal. But I would say like, yeah, no, that's a pretty good rock and roll album. And I think that the
Right.
biggest lack of this album is James's lyrics. And yes, we see all
Yeah.
of them writing the lyrics together. And there are some really good things. Like he delivers like in Saint Anger when he's like, fuck it all, and fucking no regrets, like all that good. There's bits and pieces where you're like, God damn, that's awesome. That's really close to Ride the Lightning delivery of like
Mm-hmm.
punk. This is thrash. This is like
Right.
thrash rock or something. But then there's like these like there's these slow down melodies and stuff like that, and it's just like, again, the music, sure, the lyrical content not so much.
Word.
So I think that watching the album get made, it gives you a better understanding of where this album is coming from.
Right.
Because in Kurt's one little bitchy part where he's in the studio and he's like, "Can I just say that's bullshit, man?
Yeah.
I don't think we need
Fucking
to. I don't think we need to
fucking
not
hippie.
have
Yeah.
solos or have solos. I
That's just
think like,
so
yeah, yeah,
retro and
yeah,
shit.
yeah, yeah.
But when it was like, I want to do a solo here and shit, and they're like, "Do you think we need a solo here and shit?" And I was waiting for him to go, "What the fuck am I doing here if you don't need a solo?" Last I checked, that's what my job
Yeah,
is to
yeah. And
have those things in these
that's what I'm
goddamn
saying
movies.
though, that he wants the solo. He's trying to
Yeah.
put the solo there, and they're like, "Hey, man, we're not necessarily writing that old school Metallica." But he's the one that's like, "No, people expect the cheeseburger with the ketchup and the fucking onions
Exactly.
on it." So,
And then you fucking yeah. Okay, let me ask you this though.
okay,
Okay, let's move from album to back to
okay,
movie, which actually this question has to do with both.
okay.
Do you think
Yes, I think Dave Mustaine should have been on the album.
fucking uh what, just like the cover, just like a
Yeah,
picture of
just
Dave
no, just let him hang
Mustaine, it just
around a
says
little bit more.
Metallica across
Yeah,
the
yeah.
fucking cover and shit. Oh
Just
my God.
tears coming down like that Jordan
Just
picture.
yeah.
Uh,
But do you think that Metallica was like, okay, we're gonna make an album. We're gonna have a documentary crew to make this album. And then they realized when they got in, oh shit, we're paying a documentary crew to be here to document us making an album, but no one's really into kind of making an album right now. And that's where the lackluster, they just lost their bassist, so they're having to have Bob fucking do the bass.
mhm,
They're like the band idea is kind of splintered.
mhm,
And instead of like kind of healing that, like they're healing personal things of their own,
mhm,
but like just guys, just get together and play music for like a month, kind of just play music and kind of not write for an album, but just kind of like, hey, that's a cool riff. Yeah, cool. Here, let me do this over top of it. Yeah, that's great. Like my favorite part of this movie was one moment, and Lars fucking ruined it. But James is just sitting there, like I think he just got out of fucking rehab and he's just in there just playing the guitar, jamming. Just like really cool, like blues riff, like real low, slow. And then Lars comes in and he's just like fucking like fast. Like I'm yelling at the screen, like, get a metronome, you fucking hack. Fucking that should be low and slow. This isn't fucking, fat flash frying. This is fucking like slow cooker. And it was like, but when James was doing just that, like that blues riff, I
mhm,
was like, damn, that'd be cool to have kind of more like an earl, like a clutch kind of sound for Metallica. Kind of like how
yeah.
what was that album called? Fucking goddamn Garage Inc. Like if you listen to Garage Inc., you can hear a lot of like that slowed down fucking
Well, that's
like
because it's other people's music.
well, yeah, they're covers, but like just the composition of the album and stuff. Fucking it's still fucking great, but
Mhm.
I don't know. So what do you think? Do you think that the pressure of the documentary kind of forced the album, or was it, no, 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 this is we stand by it,
That's a really good question, and I think that for me, I would have to go. The documentary crew was in not insignificant because they all kind of mentioned that they don't like it. And I think that that's one of the reasons that James went to rehab was because he was getting sick of being on camera, and people were really seeing who he was, which was at
Right.
that time a drunk. Um, so he leaves. I don't know that the album would have changed the way they were writing because the therapist was already in place.
Right.
And I think, and we don't know what it's like to have, we don't know what it's like to have made those other albums.
Right.
Like, when they're all drinking and partying and they get into the studio and they're fucking around or whatever, that might not have worked. It might
Yeah.
have been so much turmoil that they were like, all right, guys, if we're going to make another album, because you got to remember, it was 90 to 2003 when they, or not 90, but like 98,
Yeah, I want to
96
say
or
that's
something,
when Garage Inc.
96,
came
98.
out.
Yeah.
Or
To,
S&M. S&M came out after
yeah, but
Garage
that
Inc.
was just a performance.
That was a
That
yeah, it was a
wasn't like
performance, but
that wasn't
still
an album.
right.
It was an album, but it wasn't an album. They didn't write that, they just played it.
Right.
Um, so you're talking 98 to 2003. This might be the first time that they were like, all right, we can't keep doing what we were doing. It don't work anymore. We're not getting along. We hate each other. Like, fuck it. We need to get a therapist. We need to get back in the studio and see how it goes.
Right.
That's to me what this is. This shit doesn't play anymore because it was too wild. It was too crazy. We got at each other's throats. We kicked Jason out because we all just decided we didn't like him one
Yep.
day.
Right.
And now we can't function as a band without this mediator, this in between.
Right.
So here we are. Um, that's more my take on what happened. And I don't think that the production crew, or the documentary crew really affected that, or that the album would have changed. I think that this was them trying to figure out how to be around each other after 30 years of doing it.
Yeah.
1984 to 2004, that's 20, 30 years. I don't math, but I know it's long enough to get tired of somebody if you see them enough.
Hmm.
So, like if you look at the marriage rate, most marriages end in divorce. There's only so long you can be around the same person without having a bunch of problems.
Right.
So this is their attempt at not getting divorced. And, I think that I guess it ended up being successful because after this, I don't know if it happened to you, but Death Magnet came right afterwards. They did the exact same thing for their next album. They made another documentary on it,
No,
on
I
the making of
didn't.
it.
I didn't
So,
see Death Magnet.
yeah.
But yeah, yeah, like I definitely, and I also think that like I guess the biggest albatross around their neck, or whatever, is their Metallica. Like, would it have been easier for them to say, "Hey, listen, it's still gonna be us. We're gonna make an album, but
Mhm.
we're not releasing it as Metallica. We're gonna release it as like Metallica backwards or something, or just like not Metallica,
I don't
and
know. I always look to Faith No More. Like they put out a different style of music every album,
right.
and
That's
everybody was like, "This is fucking rad."
right.
But because they had cemented Metallica's sound when they went to evolve, which all artists do eventually, everybody was like, no, I want 1983's Metallica
Right.
and I want 1994's Metallica. You can't have that because they're growing as people.
Right. Right.
So
Until they realize, wow, fucking all these kids really like Master of Puppets. Let's just play
to
Master of Puppets and shit.
to
And
be honest, I don't know. I haven't heard anything since say some kind of monster.
yeah.
Like this is the last album in my thing. I've got everything up to this in 2004, and then that's it. I don't have
Right.
any of their new albums. I know they've got several,
Hmm.
and I should, be fair and listen to them. But I think that this is a perfect way to cap off their discography in my mind.
I think so. I'll put it on fucking that fucking cover album. That I really liked that album when it came out, and
Yeah,
it has nothing to do with the sound of this or the popcorn snare or anything like that. It's just that by the time that this album came around, I was in a different music, like in
right,
different musical like taste, and like
right.
different bands. I mean, Metallica will always be Metallica. I mean, fucking like I said, it's McDonald's. But like it's kind of like it's kind of like, it's better to remember the past than, hope for the future that like maybe the next one will be it, oh man, maybe the next one. So,
And that's
but
the exact kind of thinking that made them go back to the other kind of music that they
right,
used to make because they couldn't express themselves because
right.
people like you were like, I don't want it.
I
So,
think that too, that like basically after Injustice for All,
mhm.
like so we're talking Black Album, we're talking Load, Reload, Garage Inc., and then finally S&M. But I think those five albums, like, and then into Saint Anger, like, each one is different. Like, Black Album, that's pop metal. Like, like,
Exactly.
I don't
And
care.
and also keep in mind the Black Album was hated when it came out
Right,
by Metallica fans because they wanted Ride the Lightning, Kill 'Em All, and Injustice for All.
right,
That was Metallica. Black Album comes out and they go, "What's this gay shit?
right.
Like this is not Metallica."
Yeah.
And then that
But
is
it's
the
the
son
best.
but yeah, now it's the synonymous
Oh,
Metallica
man.
album.
Fucking, like,
Like you say Metallica, people go the Black Album.
Black Album. Right.
So they changed it, everybody hated it, and now you look back at it and go, that's the peak Metallica. You go through all this and then everybody hates this fucking album too, and then you look back at it and you go, it's not so bad,
Yeah.
it's not as bad as I said it was when in 2004.
Right. Like,
It's
like I
not
said,
on the level of
Black
Black
Album,
Album, but yeah.
Load. I remember everybody fucking hating Load, and I'm sitting there over in the corner going, I don't know. I like it down slow, and I like it. I know they're trying to be like Alice in Chains,
Mhm.
kind of, but I kind of like it, guys.
Mhm.
Pretty good. Reload doesn't have that much going for it, and I geek out every time I read Unforgiven 2,
Yeah.
where I'm just like, oh wow, they're even making sequels of their songs.
There's more Unforgiven, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, is there?
Yeah,
Oh
I think there's
man.
like four now.
Holy shit. Now maybe I might have to go and look at those other albums. But and then the cover album, like it was my favorite where I was just like, damn, these songs are really fucking good. Like I know the covers, but I kind of really like it and shit. Fucking I was excited for that album. The symphony thing,
That was
it's
just perfection.
yeah, because it's like, oh, cool, something, yeah, other rock bands had done it, and fucking, The
Well,
Simpsons had made fun of it already and shit.
it's like when a band puts out an acoustic album where they play all
Right,
their heavy hits acoustically.
right,
You go, eh. And then you go, like, no, goddamn, it is really good. It's like when you find out like Corey from Slipknot could sing really well. And you're
right.
like, oh shit. So he's not just as good. It was the same thing with them because they were so turned down
Mm-hmm.
and it was so gentle compared to what it had been
Right.
that you're like, God damn, they're good on another level. Like, it's not just, that fast paced metal. It's
Mm-hmm.
also this, and it sounds amazing.
Right. And I will also, in the defense of Saint Anger, is every band, even loved, like, oh man, that's my favorite band and stuff. Every band has that, like, yeah, I love every album they make, except that one album.
Mhm.
Like every band has that one album, or
Not every time I die. Every time I die, nailed it every time.
every time. Okay, so there's not like
No.
one album where
No,
it's
there's
just
not
like,
even a song.
I'm gonna even skip
There's
over.
not even an every time I die
Okay,
song that I would
well,
skip
that's
over.
that's good. I'm not
But
as
yes.
versed as Every Time I Die and shit. Because I was
Mhm.
even like thinking of like bands that I really
Mhm.
like Tool, and I'm like, I didn't really dig that last album that they made, or fucking
Oh,
like,
the yeah, okay.
yeah, I can't remember the
I
title of
think
it.
it's like pneumonia or something like
Yeah,
something like that.
or like Nine Inch Nails. It's like,
Yeah, I don't like any of the fucking Ghost
oh yeah,
albums.
you don't like Ghost albums and shit. I was like,
Unjustly, I need to go back and listen to
yeah,
them. I admit that. But yes,
or like, Manson. Obviously, it's like
the last
basically
seven
everything
albums, like
after
yeah,
fucking
right,
Grotesque.
yeah.
Fucking like, yeah, but every band, because I was thinking that, like, I'm like, why do I give this album so much hate? And like it makes me go, yeah, I'm good on Metallica kind of deal, but
Hmm.
yet
Yeah,
there
yeah.
are a handful of bands out there where I'm just like, oh man, I love Queens of the Stone Age. But that one album that they put out, fucking like the first album, I'm not a big fan of and shit. Fucking like I
I
like it,
don't
but
love rated R.
yeah,
No, well, yeah, no, I don't love
it's
rated
got some
R.
good songs on
It's
it,
got
but
some
it's
good songs, but it's not my most favorite.
yeah, it's not my favorite, but like yeah, every band
Yeah,
that just has that one album,
yeah,
and maybe they were trying something new, or maybe they were doing the same thing, but it's just like, oh, there's nothing on there that sticks to my bones, so
yeah.
I'm good. But
Yeah, I mean, I keep using the example of Slipknot because that's just something that at that time, 2004, I was
right,
listening to a lot of. I mean, if you take that first album, that self-titled album, it was pretty heavy. And then they came out even heavier with the Iowa album.
hmm
And then they had acoustic songs on the next album. So it was like, every band changes, every band evolves, every band is going to experiment with new things.
right,
Like, I love Clutch. This most recent album, I don't listen to it all that much. I
right,
still love them. It's a good album, but I'm going to put on Blast Tyrant. I like if I'm given a choice, I'm going to Blast Tyrant. I'm not going to jam this new one. Same
hmm
thing with Queens of the Stone Age. If I'm given an option, I'm not I like the new album. It's very good. I'm going to spend my time with these older albums.
yes,
Um,
those middle albums,
Now
fuck up,
something could be said to the fact that like this is my generation's Queens of the Stone Age albums.
right,
So these newer albums are not my generation. Just like if you love basketball, you love Michael Jordan, not LeBron, because that was my generation's basketball. Same thing
right,
with Attitude Era. That's our generations of wrestling, not
hmm
this new stuff. So I love this. But I'm not going to fault them for trying. I think it was super creative. It sounded nothing like anything that they had done before. Lars went the fuck off. Kirk did a really good job at not in the documentary. I'm talking about on the drums. He went off. Um, Kirk did a really good job of finding his place in that music. It
hmm
showed his versatility as a guitarist, going, okay, so you don't need those crazy solos, those like 80s solos, so let me give you a little bit of this.
right,
And it just blended really well. James was playing things that was very clearly out of his realm of abilities because he was having trouble fucking playing them, but he was determined to do it, and
right.
it didn't sound like any. So everybody did everything. And we got Robert, I'm not going to attempt his last name, from Suicidal Tendencies, as a new bass player out of it. So
Do you
you
think
know,
he's a good match? I know he's been there the longest, but do you think like as a Metallica, because they got a lot of bassists on there that could have been potentials, but
yeah, I mean Twiggy could have done them
Twiggy,
well. But I do think that so they mentioned in the documentary that he was reminiscent of Cliff, and they've been looking for Cliff since Cliff died.
right,
He plays the guitar the same way using his fingers. He just they felt him. It was like the piece clicked.
right,
And so I can't speak for them. When I look at Metallica and I go Metallica, I see Jason, Kirk, James, Lars. That's Metallica in
right.
my head. Because I was too young for Cliff, and I was still just a tad bit too young. I barely remember Dave. So Jason's the long haul for me. And when I think Metallica, I look at and I don't see Robert there. Um, Based on the way he looks. He's a completely different feel, but I think he plays well. I think he probably writes very successfully for them. So yeah, I think he's a good addition to the band. He,
No, yeah, like me personally, I don't know. I think like I haven't spent a lot of time with listening to because it's not his bass on this album. It's
it's Rob
yeah, it's
or Bob Rock or
Bob.
whatever.
Yeah. Bob Rock. I think his name is. But like, so I haven't heard his bass
Mhm.
playing, so I don't know. I mean, but then again, in in the Metallica universe, it's not the bass that leads. It's James and Lars that's always kind of like been the up front, sound.
Mhm.
And the bass kind of like just accents, and then Kurt does what he does best, So I gotta listen to him a little bit more. I think visually,
That's what I
like
mean. Visually, he doesn't fit.
visually, no, he looks like fucking like if they would have got fucking Fieldy or something on.
Yeah, he looks like he would play for
Like
suicidal
I,
tendencies.
I I can like there's gonna be a day where like they're playing and like he's not gonna be doing the crab walk and stuff, that low down bass play,
Mhm.
and like it's like, oh, my back's hurting, guys. I think I'm gonna pull my strap up and shit a little
Yeah,
bit
that
and
was one of the things that I
play up
thought that
here.
was funny when they were talking to him was like he was in the studio re-recording Bob's shit
Right.
and his bass was still down there. And I was like, bro, I like to me, the way I
Like
look
he's
at it
sitting on
is
a
like,
chair and he's playing it
yeah,
on the floor.
yeah. Um, to me, it seemed like that would be like a stage thing. Like I'm gonna drop my bass, so I'm playing with these metal dudes, just like Fieldy would or whoever their bassist was, Head, I guess. No, Head
No,
was
Fieldy.
guitarist. Fieldy, yeah. But
The answer to the question, did I happen to listen to Saint Anger? I perused it, but I was not in the right mindset, so
it's just an
fucking
excuse to not do your job.
but
That's
the
that's all I heard. All I
um
heard was I'm just gonna
what
be
do
a
you
baby
call it?
about it.
When when I started perusing it, I was like, "Oh, basically every song is already on fucking." So Death Magnet, there's one
Mhm.
called Lulu,
Yeah,
and there's Metallica Through the Nether or Never,
there's
music
hardwired to self-destruct.
Hardwired to Self-Destruct, Helping Hands is a live album, S&M 2, and then they re-released the Black Album and something called 72 Sessions.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, I have to listen to him because it's a visual. I mean, it's a an audio thing that we're talking about, but visually, I think he's a little like he's a young. He has youth
I
and
think
fucking
yeah,
Metallica look and shit, but it's okay because Lars was
Ulrich.
trying to be fucking Slim Shady through this whole thing, and I fucking wanted to like pelt him with rotting fruit the whole time.
I will say that after this, so okay, so the documentary has an 88 on Rotten Tomatoes, which is better than most movies that come out. The album was not loved by people, um, obviously, but so it clearly sold. But I think when people got home and opened it up, they went, God damn it, what is this?
Ah, ugh. Do you think
So
another reason that people weren't like like, oh yeah, I bought the new Metallica album. Oh, that's cool. Like, do you want to listen to it? Yeah, we'll listen to it. And then like people were like, oh, I don't really care for the sound and stuff. Do you think a lot of that has to do with the Napster thing where it's like, I'm not going out and buying this album. I'm like specifically because of how much Lars like fought with the Napster, and it's like, no, I'm gonna fucking download this shit because fuck you, Lars and
I
shit.
believe that may have had something to do with it. I mean, they talk about that. They show the people going, "I'm gonna burn my Metallica albums when I get home." Like,
Yeah,
yeah, all right, stupid, you already paid for them, but go for it.
right.
Um, they show that in the documentary, so that is a very good possibility that does play into it. But I think that it was the popcorn snare. I remember the biggest complaint everybody had about this album was
Right.
that snare drum,
Like I said, I
and
think it's more of
people
an engineering
fucking
thing,
hate
though.
it. I mean,
Like, I
maybe.
don't blame Lars. I blame the engineer because they put it in the front instead of in the back,
Yeah, yeah,
and
they could have blended it better.
could have blended it better. Could have, like, it's just like, and I
Because
just don't know.
there's some like when he there's certain songs where it plays perfectly.
Yeah,
It's almost leveled out, and it's and he's I mean, there's certain songs like I can't remember, I think on Dirty Window or something. He's going to town on the drums,
right,
and it's not pinging so loudly against all the other drums.
right.
So it plays well, it sounds good, and it overall sounds like good drums.
See, I
But
wonder if that was recorded in the first studio because, like I said, if you watch this documentary,
oh yeah, it's
and
not
if
there.
yeah, if you're in the first studio, it
Mhm.
sounds really good. Like it's
But
not
that's
until
not
they move to the second one
right.
where
Th-
like all of a sudden this pong.
but you know, that could that might not be an engineer thing. That might be Lars. That might be Lars's egotistical ass sitting in there going, "Hey, turn up that snare a little bit." Huh. I
Yeah,
like that. Hey, can you crank that all the way up on every single song that I do from now? You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like he could be the Yeezy of Metallica and just do random shit that nobody understands.
I don't know.
Uh, but
I
yeah, I
I
mean,
know he's dying for tell me I'm good, tell me I'm good, tell me I'm good.
yeah.
Because if you watch like every time Lars is in the studio, he has some random person listening to the album and he's like, "So what'd you think?" Like
Mhm.
he's like with his dad, and his
Yeah,
dad's
yeah.
just like, "I don't give a shit."
Yeah.
Fucking you're Metallica.
Yeah, yeah.
It
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah.
Fucking I'm into Kenny Loggins
Yeah,
myself,
yeah, yeah.
so
His
and
professional tennis player dad.
yeah, and there's like at least three or four times that happens where Lars is like showing someone, and Lars is sitting there looking blankly into it, and then he looks over at like person, and like by the end of the movie, there are people that are just fucking yes men coming in there being like, "Oh yeah, it was the aggression." It's like no one's actually talking about like, yeah, I like what you did there. But on that note, Jacob, all right. No, we're not. I'm not watching this in the theater. Okay. There's no reason to watch a documentary,
I
I
do
think,
think
in
it
the
came
theater.
out in theaters. I don't remember. I could be wrong, but
Would you? I'll ask the question. Fucking, would you go see this in the
no,
theater?
and
No.
I'm not unfamiliar with going and seeing shit like this in theaters because in high school, my girlfriend, me and her went up north, like all the way up into Springfield because she was a huge Godsmack fan. And we went to go see Godsmack's like working of the album
Oh, word.
that they did in theaters.
Like, I would go see a
So
concert in theaters,
right,
like
right,
if it
right.
was like a high promoted con
Mhm.
concert and shit,
Right.
Metallica and, the Antarctics and shit, fucking like
Or
theater
San Quentin.
experience. Yeah. Fucking yeah, the Sam Quentin. It's like someone had to tap James on the shoulder, being like, most of the people there are white, so these are probably white supremacists. So everybody got to put a shirt on.
Mhm.
Fucking um, but yeah, like I'm not gonna see this in the theater. So
No, no, no.
you want to own a physical copy of this?
No, no,
No, no.
no,
Like
no.
it's a good documentary, and I'm glad I watched it.
Yeah.
Like, because when it came out, I remember everybody talking about fucking the Metallica documentary, and it's like, yeah, I've never seen that all the way through. That's why I was so looking forward to this, where it's like, okay, finally, I get to watch from start to finish, but I don't want to own it,
No,
So,
yeah, I mean, yeah.
is this a cult classic?
I don't think that it's possible.
No, it's Metallica. Fucking,
Yeah,
there's
no.
no like
No, there's no
underground.
cult to it. So
Then again, it is about Saint Anger, the most hated album of
I
fucking
think
Metallica's career.
I think
So
that album could be a cult
I
classic. That
think that,
album
yeah.
could may be a cult classic now.
So I guess if the
But
DVD came on like the B side of the album and shit.
Yeah,
Fucking like, oh yeah, you
possibly.
just fucking then yes,
Yeah,
because I guarantee there are still CD case jewel cases out there. It's like, yeah, I bought that. I listened to it. It was fucking terrible, and it just sits on the shelf now and shit because I don't know, fucking
yeah. And I think that now that we've done this review of this documentary, there will be a second awakening of this album, and people will go back to it and look at it fondly,
yeah,
and everybody will admit how wrong they were.
yeah, I know, and I hope Metallica pays us our royalties, fucking for
Yeah,
promoting their shit and
yeah.
shit.
They were
Fucking
like, man,
pay me, Lars.
Jacob single-handedly made everybody love this album.
I mean, everybody loves the album now and shit. Fucking Lars. Um,
I will
what
say that
else?
real quickly. I thought it was cool that they got Rob to join the band. And when they're doing the like contract reading, they're like, yeah, you get 2/5 of a vote, and everybody else gets five votes.
Yeah.
You get two votes, and you get like a 5% stake in the company for the first. And they all went, nah, fuck that. He gets an equal part. I thought that that was really cool. I was like,
Yeah, because they're not
that's
trying
cool
to
shit.
Jason it and again,
Yeah,
where
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Jason's just like, yeah, the reason I left technically was not because to join this fucking Nickelback band. It's because
That's what he
I
swears though.
I sit there and I'm like, hey, I wrote this song, and James and Lars looks at me and goes, why? Fucking, we already wrote the album, dude. Fucking, see, like,
Yeah.
say it ain't good. Fucking, so, um, but yeah, so, would you recommend this movie to people?
I mean, if you're a Metallica fan, you've probably already seen it.
Right.
So
It would be funny to go to a Metallica fucking concert and be like, oh my God, have you seen fucking this documentary and shit? I totally recommend it. And they're like, yeah, I've seen it. I'm fucking in it or some shit.
yeah,
Fuck.
yeah.
It's Metallica. Fuck.
I'm James. Like, oh
Yeah,
shit, I didn't
yeah. Oh
recognize
wow,
that.
fucking.